Welcome to Caffeine Confessionals. My name is Alan Aguirre. Welcome to the channel. I'm about to take you on a statistical breakdown of some of the greatest challenge players all time. On my blog, I recently took all 35 seasons of the challenge, I did the math, and I broke down which seasons are the easiest wins all the way up to the hardest win. All 35 seasons, I was able to put a value on each of them. Through doing all this math, I was able to apply a statistic known as win ratio percentage. A Reddit user named Will Simon created this win ratio percentage where he took the expected amount of daily challenge wins and then applied it to the actual amount of daily challenge wins to find out whether a player was overperforming or underperforming. Thanks to him and the own independent math that I did myself, I was able to apply win ratio percentage to challenge championships and also amount of finals made by competitors. I then broke down the win and final ratio of about 50 different players, and in this video I'm going to go in detail on 18 different challenge competitors, 9 men and women who are considered legends of the sport or are just top all-time competitors who maybe aren't legends because of their actions. For the players I go in detail on, I only included players who did 4 or more seasons because anything less than 4 seasons really just screws up the sample size of everything, and that means I had to exclude legends like Emily Skrom, Jodie Weatherton, and Jamie Murray. I also did not include players with impressive statistics who we wouldn't consider a legend, like a Hunter Barfield, as well as players that we would consider legends whose stats just didn't come out that well, like a Paula Marinick or an Alton Williams. If you want to understand how win ratio percentage works, I'm going to explain it in the next 2 minutes so that way this math doesn't just seem like BS. However, if you don't care and just know that the higher win ratio percentage means the better the player, just skip around the video because I start from the players with the lowest win ratio that we're talking about to the highest. So the player at the end is the one with the highest win ratio and according to the stats is the best player. No, this does not mean they are the best player by any means, but the stats that we are working with say they are. Just a friendly reminder, don't take all stats at face value, but at the same time, look at them and understand them and appreciate them for what they are. Expected win ratio is the percentage value that comes out when you divide how many actual challenge championships a player has divided by their expected amount based on the seasons they've competed on. Not all seasons of the challenge are made equal. Some are much harder than others, some are much easier than others. I'm going to explain to you how to get an expected win ratio, and that's going to be vital for the rest of this video. If a season has 10 players on it and it crowns one winner at the end, then the expected win rate is 0.1. The same goes for if it has 4 winners, then the expected win rate is 0.4, 4 out of 10, 1 out of 10, etc, etc. If a player were to appear on 2 seasons with that same exact 1 out of 10 winner format, then their total expected win rate is 0.2, because 0.1 plus 0.1 is 0.2. If they were to win one of those seasons, then a win would count as 1.0. And you take that 1.0 and you divide it by the 0.2 and you get 5. You multiply that 5 by 100 and you have 500%. That 500% is your win ratio. Another example is that if you have a format where they crown 6 winners out of 10 and you play on 2 seasons like that, then your expected wins is 1.2. And if you only win one of those seasons, 1 divided by 1.2 is 0.83. Multiply that by 100 and your win ratio is 83%. 83% is much less impressive than 500%. And as you'll see in this video, the percentages are going to go up and up and up. Generally, an elite challenge competitor stays above 100% in win ratio. Anything under 100% means that that individual player is performing below expectations. Moving on to the players now. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. Just know that the players at the end have higher win ratios than the ones at the beginning. Starting from the bottom of the top, the male legend with the lowest career win ratio percentage is CT. Sorry CT fans. He's been on 17 seasons of challenge, has won 3 challenge championships, and has been to 8 finals. According to the math, at this point, CT was expected to have won 2.25 seasons and make it to 5.93 finals. His expected win ratio and expected final ratio are at 132.96 and 134.78% respectively. Prior to winning War of the Worlds 2, CT actually had a below 100% win ratio, which means that he actually was winning less seasons than expected statistically. While the eye test tells you that CT is one of the greatest to ever play the game, the math isn't his friend. He wasted a lot of wins in his early career where he just didn't put it all together, especially those DQs due to fighting, those count against him, especially a season like the Inferno 3, which is a very easy final to win. That counts against him really badly. Ironically, when it comes to this math, it's been CT's later seasons that have been the strongest indicator that he is an elite player. Following up CT is his Rivals 2 partner, Mr. Wes Bergman, who's competed on 13 seasons of the challenge, has won 2, and is made to 5 finals. These simple on-paper numbers tell you that CT has been better than Wes mathematically. However, you have to dig into the fact that Wes has mostly competed on individual or pair seasons where winning is very hard. At this point in his career, Wes is expected to have won 1.24 seasons and make it to 3.99 finals, both which he's exceeded. His expected win ratio is 160.91%, but his final ratio is 126.17%, which is actually lower than CT's and is the lowest male legend that we're going to be talking about. Switching over to the female side, the first woman legend with the lowest win ratio percentage that we're going to be talking about is actually the woman who's tied for the most challenge wins among females, Miss Veronica Portillo. Veronica has competed on 11 seasons, has won 3 championships, and made it to 4 finals. At this point, her expected wins is 2.04, and she's expected to have made it to 4.49 finals, which is actually more finals than she's actually made it to. So Veronica is underperforming when it comes to making it 2 finals. Her expected win ratio is 146.79%, which is actually higher than CT's, and her expected final ratio is 88.91. You might see 88.91% and think, wow, that's like a B plus on a test. However, this percentage is almost like accounting for human health. If someone told you they were running at 88.91% instead of at 100 or 110%, you'd be worried for them. However, to have a percentage that's more than 0, you have to at least make it to a final or win one, and Veronica has definitely done that. Next up is Veronica's best friend, Rachel Robinson. Rachel competed on 7 seasons of the challenge, won 2 challenge championships, and made it to 3 finals. Her expected wins was 1.28, and her expected finals was 2.72. The expected win ratio was 155.38%, with the final percentage being 109.97%. I was shocked to find out that before the Duel 2, Rachel had a below 100% ratio in both wins and finals. Our next female is the greatest elimination competitor of all time, regardless of gender, and is the greatest female daily challenge competitor ever, Miss Laurel Stuckey. Laurel has competed on 6 seasons of the challenge, won 1 championship, made it to 4 finals. Her expected wins at this point is 0.63, and her expected finals is 2.03. Laurel's win ratio percentage is 158%, which is higher than Rachel and Veronica's, which is crazy considering she only has 1 win compared to their 2 and 3 respectively. This is because Laurel played in an era where the formats were built against them rather than for them. Her final ratio is 197.04%, which is actually second highest among the females we're going to talk about today. Switching back to the males, we have Derek Kuzinski, who competed on 10 seasons of the challenge, won 3 championships, and made it to 5 finals. Derek is expected to have had 1.69 wins and 3.67 finals. His win ratio is 176.99%, with his final ratio being 136.1%. Derek, coming back for Dirty 30 and making the final, elevated his final ratio 20%, putting him above people like Wes and CT, and only cost his win ratio 8%. I don't really want to talk about either of these players, so I'm going to hit them both at once, Kenny and Evan. Kenny competed on 8 seasons, Evan competed on 6. Kenny won 3 championships and made it to 7 finals. Evan won 2 championships and made it to 4 finals. Kenny's expected wins is 1.33, his expected finals is 3.04, Evan's expected wins is 0.83, and his expected finals is 1.96. Evan has a higher win ratio with 240.52, while Kenny's is 225.3. Evan's final ratio is 152.56. Kenny has a higher one with 230%, and Kenny actually has the highest final ratio of any of the males we're talking about today. Back to the females, next we have the undefeated Susie Meister. She competed on 4 seasons of the challenge, won 2 championships, and made it to 4 finals. Susie is expected to have 1.22 championships and made it to 2.45 finals. Her win ratio and final ratio are the exact same at 162.8%. Susie is just classically underrated. Following Susie is a competitor tied for the most finals appearance in challenge history, Ms. Cara Maria Sorbello. Cara has competed on 14 seasons, the most of any female competitor, has won 2 championships and made it to 9 finals. Her expected wins at this point is 1.17, and her expected finals is 4.13. It is honestly surreal to consider the fact that after 14 seasons, Kara has less expected wins than Suzy, who only competed on 4. During Kara's challenge career, she only competed on 2 big team seasons, and those were Cutthroat and War of the Worlds 2, 2 seasons with very atypical formats. Her win ratio is 170%, and her final ratio is 217.6%, which is the highest of any female we've talked about today, or we'll talk about later. After Cara Maria is her former contemporary Miss Sarah Rice. She competed on 9 seasons of the challenge, won 2 championships, and made it to 5 finals. To me, Sarah is one of the more underrated players. You compare her to CT, who got kicked off twice for fighting. Sarah got kicked off twice because her partner got DQ'd or quit. Sadly for Sarah, those 2 seasons still count against her when doing the math here. Her expected wins at this point is 0.96 and her expected finals is 2.87. Even with the 2 lost seasons, Sarah's win ratio is 207.18% and 174.07% for her final ratio. Switching over to the men, and I actually do mean the word man when I talk about this next competitor because he's a real man, Mr. Darrell Taylor. He's competed on 8 seasons of the challenge, has won 4 championships, and has made it to 4 finals. Darrell's expected wins is 1.33 and his expected finals is 3.06. His win ratio percentage is 298.81%. Honestly, coming back for Dirty 30 and Invasion, even though he didn't make the finals of those and didn't win those seasons, it didn't hurt his win ratio that much, only dropping him about 30 to 40%. His final ratio is 130.5%, which is actually less than CT and Derek and just slightly above Wes. However, his win percentage is over double CT's, so he has that going for him. Next is someone I would not consider a man, simply a rotten banana. It is 7-time challenge champion John Devenanzio. Also, shout out to Logan and Allie of the Rotten Bananas podcast. Bananas has been on a record 20 seasons of the challenge, of course has the most all-time wins with 7, is tied for the most final appearances with 9, has a career expected wins of 2.27 and an expected finals of 6.39. While myself and many others are hardcore banana haters, the numbers do not lie. He has a staggering 307.67 win ratio percentage. Yeah, it took him 20 seasons to win 7 times, but he's vastly overperforming on a statistical basis. Hilariously, Bananas didn't win either Inferno 3 or Gauntlet 3, which were his 2 easiest potential wins on a stats basis, and those weigh him down the most. His final ratio is only 140.78%, and it dropped over 40% between Rivals 3 to Total Madness. Women, unfortunately, we have to talk about Camila, who competed on 10 seasons, won 2 championships, and made it to 4 finals. Her expected wins was 0.92, her expected finals was 2.85, her win ratio was 216.05%, and her final ratio was 140.06%. Sadly, as Camila had a competitive renaissance at the end of her career, she also became more toxic as a human and got exposed for being racist. Good thing she's gone now. Okay, now we're done with Camila and we get to talk about a woman who rocks now, and that is Miss Evelyn Smith, who is tied for the most championships by a female competitor ever. She competed on 7 seasons of the challenge, won 3 championships, and made it to 4 finals. Evelyn's expected wins was 1.23, her expected finals was 2.84, and her career win percentage ratio was 243.6%. Even though I believe Evelyn might be the best female player ever, I was still shocked to see her rank 2nd among the females we talk about today when it comes to win ratio, and that's because the era she played in was a bit soft. However, that's just how good Evelyn was. The last woman we are going in detail on with the highest win ratio percentage is Miss Ashley Mitchell, and that might shock you. She's competed on 7 seasons, has won 2 championships, and has made it to 3 finals. Ashley's career expected wins is 0.51 and her expected finals is 1.97. Her win ratio is a staggering 387.1%, literally more than double Cara Maria's. Does this mean that Ashley is the best female competitor in challenge history? No. However, if you are a huge Ashley fan and you want to get into an argument with someone, you could bring these stats up and be like, yeah, Ashley is the greatest, look at these numbers. Ashley's win ratio is more than anything a depiction of how hard it is to win in the modern era, let alone to win 2 seasons. Ashley's ratio is also a big reminder of 2 things. Number 1, luck. Ashley's needed luck to get these wins, and that's not a bad thing. Everyone needs some luck on their side to win a season, whether it be in eliminations or the final, or just little things that help you. And number two, Ashley is a damn good competitor, because to win twice, even with luck on your side, you need to be damn good at certain things, and you have to know where to cut the corners. Ashley is nowhere as bad as some people think she is, and at the same time, don't take these numbers as like meaning that she's the greatest player ever either. She's one of the best all time for sure, though.
Biggest fear is definitely
our
snakes.
Second highest male win ratio comes from
getting
Mr.
bit,
Landon
just
Luke.
whatever. I just don't like snakes. I understand that they're not slippery and gross, but quite honestly, it's just my biggest fear. Biggest fear is definitely snakes. Getting bit, just whatever. I just don't like snakes. I understand that they're not slippery and gross, but quite honestly, it's just my biggest fear.
Two of them had a low barrier for entry when it came to the final. While Landon wasn't the biggest personality from a drama perspective, he is easily one of the greatest to ever play the game. Only one male competitor beats him when it comes to win ratio. And that person with the highest win ratio, regardless of gender, is Mr. Jordan Wisely. He's competed on 6 seasons of the challenge, has won 3 championships, and has made it to 4 finals. Jordan's expected wins is 0.53, and his expected finals is 1.81. His final ratio percentage is 220.96, which is just below Kenny and is second among males. You might want to sit down for Jordan's win ratio if you aren't already. It is a crazy, ridiculous number. It is 559.07%. That's over 200% higher than Landon's, over 170% higher than Ashley on the female side. If you thought Ashley's number was crazy, Jordan's number is astronomical. Whereas I warned people about Ashley's high number, Jordan's number is so high that if you don't already have him in the conversation for greatest competitor ever, you need to now. Even crazier to consider is that before Jordan lost Total Madness, his ratio used to be 646%, which is quite literally double Landon's. Double the second place person. What? Jordan is the Barry Bonds, Mike Trout, Ricky Henderson of the challenge. His stats are just on another level. The game is so stacked against you in this modern era statistically, and the fact he's dominated proves that he's just one of the best to play the game, if not the best. I will note there is a flaw in this system where if you put Jordan on a theoretical Gauntlet 3 and he were to win, his ratio would actually go down because your percentage chance of winning the Gauntlet 3 is 0.25. Jordan's career expected wins is 0.51, so you add that to his total and it's 4 over 0.76, and it's about 508% versus the current 3 over 0.51, which is the 559. My narration on this video is coming to a close, but the video isn't quite over just yet. I'm going to drop some names and some pictures and some text on this video of some people who I didn't want to go in detail on, either because 1, they didn't have enough sample size, 2, they weren't important enough as figures on the show, or 3, their numbers were less impressive than I expected for people I personally view as legends. As a whole, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean a lot, as doing all these stats and all these breakdowns did take a lot of time. Again, thank you for watching.